What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Emphasis on Sports. I know it's been a second, man. My bad. Had a lot going on, different work things, blah, blah, blah. But hey, I'm back. And guess what else is back? Football's back. You hear me? So today is the first Sunday, full slate, NFL, week one. Couldn't be more excited. College football, last night we wrapped up the second week. College football is getting funky. It's real interesting early. Really gonna make us wonder how this new 12 game playoff is gonna work out. Because now you lose a game, maybe even if you lose two, you may not be out of the playoffs. And really, just give me a chip in a chair. Let me get in the playoffs, and anything can happen. But seeing some of the teams out there that are kind of unsure, your Florida States of the world, Notre Dame with a huge upset yesterday, still kind of puts them in question. Clemson, I know Clemson did their thing yesterday, but what's up with them? LSU, same thing. Oklahoma had a low scoring tight one. Oregon doesn't look like the team that we've seen in the last couple of years. Had a real close one with Boise State. Um, we saw that Michigan Texas game. Can't even knock Michigan. Texas is a good team, really good team. They walk in there like a powerhouse, get the job done, roll them. The college landscape does look interesting really early, which is real cool. It's gonna make watching the games a little bit different because there really doesn't look like there's many dominant teams out there. So stay tuned on college. I'm real excited. Want to see what happens. Really want to see what happens in Nebraska too. I know Matt Rule. This is, I believe, second year there. He's a great college coach. So let's see his imprint. And the kid, I think Rayola, young young Mahomes Jr., which is weird, by the way. It's weird. Let's not let anyone tell you that it's not weird. But dude looks like a good quarterback. So let's see what happens there. It's been about 30 years, damn near, since people were hollering Cornhuskers. They have a shot at it, at getting there and looking good. So let's see. But King of the Jungle is back. King of the Jungle is back. The NFL, baby. So we started on Thursday with the Chiefs and the Ravens. Hell of a game. Hell of a way to bring the NFL season back. Years ago, the NFL started the Thursday night. First game is the reigning Super Bowl champion. And you really could just cross your fingers and hope for the best that it's a good game. Well, last night it was everything that it was, or Thursday night it was everything that it was supposed to be. Really was a good game. Mahomes and Lamar, they both were out there doing their thing. Tells me a couple things just as a fan of football. One, the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Number two, tells me that Baltimore is still a damn good team. They are. Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Couple pieces they had added on offense, namely Xavier Worthy. You're bringing in a cheetah-esque player back into that offense that's going to make a difference, no matter what anybody wants to say. And then Baltimore, hey, look, we don't really know with Baltimore. We know they lost some members on defense. They have some pieces that have changed, but they did happen to play Kansas City. Losing to Kansas City in the fashion that they lost, where they really did have a chance to actually win the game. That's nothing to hang your head about. So next week, I expect to see Baltimore back to just being Baltimore, bullying people, right? So then Friday, we had another game. First ever game in Brazil, Packers, Eagles. Going into this game, I actually felt like the Eagles were going to win. Not going to lie to you, I'm not very high on the Packers this year. Even going into the game, I just wasn't high on the Packers. You got to show me. Second year starters don't always continue what they did that first year. Some regress a little bit. Just got to see it, right? Well, that game was a pretty good game also. Biggest things there were, of course, the field slippage on the field because they played in a soccer stadium on a soccer field. which grass is different. All that setup is different. But the biggest thing that came out of the game overall was Jordan Love going down at the very end of the game. No one wants to see anyone get injured. I definitely don't. All the preliminary talks are saying it's a sprained MCL. He'll miss a couple weeks. Let's hope that that's really all there is to it. Let's see him get back on the field, but let's see how the Packers react to this. You can't fold up. You lost one game. Now you got to get on your horse. Next man up. Let's ball out. So those are Thursday, Friday night games. It was a hell of an entrance into the NFL season. I must say, really exciting to just get to it. Then we had a really great Saturday. Now we have a really great Sunday, right? So there's plenty of games throughout the day that are going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing Atlanta and Pittsburgh. You got two new quarterbacks, however it shakes out, right? Two new quarterbacks. You're going to have Kirk Chains versus Justin Fields. We know Russell Wilson, is a little bit dinged up, a little injured, isn't going to be able to start. Let's see what happens with the Steelers. The Steelers could be one of those sneaky good teams if they get some good quarterback play. We know they're going to bring it defensively. We know that they can run the ball, but where they haven't really looked good the last couple of years is throwing the ball. So let's see if there's a little change there, maybe a little better balance. On the Atlanta side, you got a whole new thing, right? Where Atlanta has struggled the past couple of years, really was consistent, solid quarterback play. You go out and draft players that have the very high upside, look good on paper. But if they don't have the right piece back there distributing the ball, making the proper plays and adjustments, it's just not going to work out. Now they're in a situation where they potentially have two with Kirk and with Michael Penix Jr. Let's just see what happens. Let's see how this year goes. Hopefully all things go well and we could see some high productivity out of some of these players. On the fantasy football side, Kyle Pitts. If you know, you know, right? Other big games. I mean, there's some that Arizona Buffalo to me isn't a big game. Arizona's a team that I'll believe it when they do it. Enough said, right? Buffalo, you got to see what they're gonna do after the loss of a lot of players, after a different receiver room. Who's gonna get the ball the most? One thing we know is Josh Allen's gonna throw it. Who's gonna be out there catching it? Who's gonna be making the plays? Is Dalton Kincaid, does he move into like the guy as far as tight ends? Possibly. You go and draft Keon Coleman. Kid was great in college. Let's see what happens. So let's kind of stay tuned on that one, right? All right, Tennessee, Chicago. That one's going to be interesting for a couple reasons. You got Will Levis, who it's his second year in the league, but he's the guy. Period. He's the guy there, right? You get Tannehill out of town. Now it's Will Levis's job. Period. You add Calvin Ridley. You add Tony Pollard. You have some solid pieces there. Are they going to be good? But then also they're playing against Chicago, which Chicago looks like a team that if Caleb Williams is the player that everyone hoping that he's going to be in the NFL, and believe me, I heard myself when I said that. Everyone's hoping he's a great player. We don't know. He hasn't played. College is college. Practice and hard knocks and preseason, that's a whole different thing. Today he lines it up against an NFL team, against ones for 60 minutes. Let's see what happens. Now, Caleb can go out there and be great. And if he's great, man, the Bears are going to be good. They have a hell of a team around them. They really could get it done. Right? Other games that are out there, that Cincinnati, New England. Unless you live in those places, you don't really care about this game. You don't. There's Cincinnati should win handily. It would be a surprise if they don't. We're going to move on. All right. Houston Indy is going to be a good one. That's division rivals. That's Anthony Richardson. We saw just a very, very small sample size of him last year, and he looked good. He really did. Now, everyone's talking about the upside, very high ceiling of him, but, is he going to stay healthy? That's the biggest thing. Let's see how that works out. Now, CJ Stroud, second year, just like I said about Jordan Love, right? Second year. Now, there's a little bit, I don't know, there's a little more experience around him at the wide receiver, especially adding in Stephon Diggs. You bring in Joe Mixon out of the backfield. They did a damn good job last year. Let's see what happens this year. Same thing. I expect this game to be a really good game because neither one of these teams, I think, are head and shoulders better above the other team. And it's a division game. Division games are always, right? Then we also have a battle in Florida. We have Jacksonville and Miami. That one should be a real interesting one. Now, Trevor Lawrence, is he going to bounce back? Last year, he did not have a good year. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they, to me, faded a little bit from the season before when they went to the playoffs, when they won the division and went to the playoffs. This one, they lost that division down the stretch. So they have to bounce back. Trevor Lawrence has to bounce back. You got Etienne. You got Kirk over there. You got Gabe Davis. You went out drafted. It's time to play. Doug Peterson, you've been there a little bit. Now this team should be a little better. Kind of same thing down there in Miami. Tua, McDaniel. It's time. It's time. You can't be a middle of the pack forever. You just can't. You have to play. You have to exceed and succeed. We know you have a track field full of players. You also have a ridiculous offense. Well, got to get it done. So that's going to be a real cool game to watch. I expect some fireworks. Carolina, New Orleans, no one cares. Just simple as that. No one cares. Minnesota Giants, no one cares. Outside of some of these no one cares games are like fantasy football, right? You pay attention to them because of fantasy football. But if I don't know, if New Orleans and Carolina was the only game on where I live, I can go do something. I can mow the lawn. You know what I mean? I can catch the replays of that one. No one cares. Just no one cares. Vegas, the Chargers, almost a no one cares game. Now you're bringing in Jim Harbaugh. You have the Raiders. It should be a nice, interesting game. You want to see now that the Chargers got rid of so many offensive weapons. How's that team going to look? Who's going to ascend there? What's the imprint that Harbaugh has on it early? We shall see. Denver, Seattle. No one cares. No one does. Right? Yeah, you got Bo Nix. You got the new coach in Seattle. No one cares. That's not a game to write home to. One game in my neck of the woods, Dallas at Cleveland. That one's going to be a really good one. Dallas always has eyes on them. Everyone's going to watch Dallas. Everyone's going to have something to say about Dallas. It's what it is. It's who they are. I have no problem with it. I get it. But they're coming into Cleveland. Cleveland actually has a really good team. You check a couple episodes back, I actually think Cleveland's going to win the AFC North. If Deshaun goes out there and plays and just he doesn't have to be great. He does not have to be Houston Deshaun. He just has to be solid, consistent, and healthy. Those are the biggest things with him. If he could bring that to Cleveland, they could be a really good team. Still have a good defense. Still got a good receiver room. You add Judy over there with Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper is real underrated, but we'll see what happens there. The defense that Cleveland brings is also huge. So let's see how this game goes. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this game. It's really cool living in a city with living in a sports town. I'll say this: living in a sports town, because every NFL team or every sports team isn't necessarily in a sports town. Um, some of the fans really love that team, um, but it's not a this is a place where the city eats, sleeps, drinks, pees, shits, the whole nine sports. Whether it's the Browns, the Guardians, the Cavs, the Monsters, they love their teams here. So this is a big one for the city. Also, if the Browns can win this game, I'm gonna have to hear it a lot. Myers are gonna roll. It's gonna be annoying, but it'll still be kind of cool. I won't lie about that. You're gonna have Washington and Tampa Bay. That one's kind of an interesting game. Um, Tampa Bay's look pretty good. Finally, looks like Baker Mayfield is at home in the NFL. Looks like he's just going to be a very solid NFL quarterback. He may not be that guy that I think everyone thought he was going to be coming out of college, but there's nothing wrong with just being a really good NFL quarterback. Nothing wrong with that. And I think maybe some of his trials and tribulations, and then falling in the landing spot he did in Tampa, where the team really is ready built and they're professional. So he could walk in and just, all right, hey, what are we doing? And then just play quarterback, not have the expectations. He's had Tampa looking good. A lot of people have looked at Atlanta this year in the NFC South and just said that they're going to, head and shoulders above because of Kirk Cousins. I don't know if that's the case. Tampa's still there. Baker's still there. Todd Bowles is there. They're going to come with a pretty good defense. Things that we know for sure, Mike Evans is going to put up the numbers. It's what he does. It's what he does. You still got Godwin. They got a little squad down there. I'm definitely going to see what happens. Now on the other side of the field with them, got Washington. They got their young quarterback, and everybody. You read all the time. He's better. He's getting better. Let's see what happens with him. He also has a squad around him. They already got Scary Terry out there. Yeah, you bring in Austin Eckler. You got Brian Robinson Jr. back there. You got a team. The defense ain't half bad. We just have to see how it goes, what happens, right? So this is a good first test for Washington. Definitely going up against that Tampa Bay team. Ending it up tonight is going to be a doozy. Stafford, the Rams, walking back into Detroit. This is football, right? You got a little bit of a personal rivalry, if you will, more than anything. This is just like the Thursday night game, the Friday night game. These are the games that you just look forward to all day. Even if some of these other games weren't there, I would look forward to watching this one. I cook food just to watch this one. I would. This is going to be a really good game. You want to see if the Lions are who we think they are. They got all the way to the NFC Championship, lost to them. Probably should have won that game. Are they going to continue that? Are they going to carry over that action into this season and get better? We know Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He was very much misused and mistrusted and all of those things when he was in LA. He goes out to Detroit, he's at home. He doesn't have the bright lights, the big city, all of the BS that comes with it. He could just play quarterback. And the fans are going to love him just for taking them further than they've been for what seems like 100 years. So the Lions, they look like they could be a good team. I actually have a little belief that they're going to be a good team. Now on the other side of the field there, you got the Rams. Now, I remember, I want to say before last year or the year before, where the big talk was, is McVay going to leave the Rams and go into the booth because the team's just not looking the same. They need better players and all this, that, and the other. They reloaded. They're fine. Last year, they found Puka Nacua, found Kyron Williams. So now, you throw them with uh, with Cooper Cup out there, with Matt Stafford. They're just fine. On the defensive side, the biggest question is just going to be how's the defense affected without Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is going to take up two people and free up somebody damn near every snap. That's a different thing. When you don't have him out there, there is nobody else in the league that you have to do that to. So that's is going to be a hell of a game. I expect to see some points, a little bit of a shootout. On the betting side, I'm taking the over on that one. I'll tell you that. So that's, I mean, going to be a hell of a day in the NFL. For me, it's going to be a real cool one because I could just hang out because the Niners play tomorrow. Niners Jets Monday Night Football started off. Real for me, it's kind of a head scratcher that they're putting Rodgers back on that national stage again. Knowing what happened a couple snaps in last year. Hope dude is healthy, stays healthy. I mean, football's always kind of cool watching Rodgers play. As a Niners fan, we're not scared of Rodgers at all. But this should be a good game. From everything that was being talked about last year, and I'll say, me as a football fan, there is a little belief that if all things considered, if Rodgers is healthy, the Jets could be a very formidable team, can be competing for a Super Bowl easily, no problem. They built the team just to have a quarterback that could plug in and roll, a la what Tampa did when Brady went there. But on the other side of the field there is the 49ers. They're the reigning NFC champs. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of, I think, underrating the 49ers this year, which has been crazy to me. I've seen some of these lists of, best teams on whatever side. And, you got the Lions, or you got the Lions and Packers ahead of the 49ers. It's wild. It's wild. 49ers have absolutely reloaded and got a little bit better in certain places. But, how are you going to, you can't put two teams that they beat in the playoffs ahead of them. I just don't. I don't get it. But, I don't write those lists. I believe San Francisco is going to come back with a chip on their shoulder. I believe Brock Purdy has something to prove to himself, not to Niner fans. We get it. We love you, Brock. But I jokingly said last year we're watching Anakin Skywalker turn into Darth Vader, because Brock's just a good kid, just a nice country boy out here playing, and y'all keep picking with him. Y'all keep picking with him. He gonna wield his lightsaber and bust y'all ass. So yeah, NFL Week 1 looks to be fantastic to see, fantastic to watch. I can't wait. Got food going, getting ready. I have nothing to do but watch football. I was actually productive today, y'all. So I'm gonna watch some football. I'm gonna kick back. Y'all get at me. Stay tuned for more. Let's see how the day goes. I might check in with you later. I probably won't. Either way, have a good rest of your day. Be good or be good at it. One love, y'all.